So for the past week, I've spent nearly 40 hours running around with my very own Walmart or Aldi version of Rocket Raccoon, a heavily armoured, aggressive, miniature kung fu critter just kicking the holy crap out of all of these weird looking creatures of all shapes and sizes, running around in this very bright, vibrant open world of Biomutant created by Experiment 101, a team of about 20 developers. 40 hours in and I've gone through most of the exploration, secrets, side quests, bases to capture, clans to take over and areas to clear out. However, the second half of those 40 hours was painfully drawn out and honestly not what I was expecting at all, but I still just wanted to do all of the side quests and get all of those done. Now, while the world itself is beautifully made, the gameplay, combat and the narration especially from quests felt at times like it's just keeping the game stuck in mud. It just slows it all the way down. Towards the end of the game, I felt like I just wanted to skip all of the dialogue from the side quests. There wasn't a big enough skip button for me to bypass all of that. But with that being said, the game does have some pretty well done systems as well. One of these being the weapons in game that you can craft and you can chop and change to function differently, from a toilet brush mace with a banana as the handle to an assault rifle that drops grenades on bullet impact. Weapon customization in Biomutant is kind of bonkers. However, Biomutant is a game full of all of these different systems that you will be familiar with different open world games that are all mashed together in, I guess, some kind of hope that it will be some kind of big cohesive unit at the end, which doesn't really play out. Like I said, the game at times just slows all the way down. Now, the game comes out on the 25th, and this is what I've thought of the time I've spent playing it so far. It is set in a world that has basically been destroyed through pollution, and there is plenty of the story that talks to you about pollution along the way and how the world would be better off without it, so there is a kind of byline to the story in there. Humanity has been destroyed along the way as well, giving rise to these heavily mutated creatures which have taken over and formed clans around the Tree of Life, but the Tree of Life is taking damage. Your job is to save the Tree of Life while either uniting the clans or choosing to destroy them. Your call, entirely up to you, good or bad, but you also have your own story to tell along the way. A story told through flashbacks and narrative moments by some of the quest givers you meet along the way. A story that, I guess, you choose your path, whether you want vengeance, forgiveness and so on. So riding around on the back of some awesomely weird looking mounts to jet skiing through polluted waters on my Googlide, cool name, and then eventually running around in a mech suit with interchangeable parts. Mine had a giant ducky head. This game has a lot to offer. There are 6 different species to choose from, all visually different, with each giving you a little stat boost to begin with, like more vitality for the Hyla breed, or more strength for the Dum-Dums, more, I guess, intellect for the Fit breed, which is perfect for the mage type class, but you can honestly skew the stats any way you want once you start leveling your character. There is also 6 classes to play as well, with each having different perks to unlock later on as you level up, and altering your stats will change your physical appearance. Like giving you more strength will make you look more buff, more intellect will give you a bigger head, more charisma makes you look smug, like you've just farted in an elevator, which I don't condone, but you can also change your appearance in game later on. So for me, the species and of course your appearance aren't as much of a big deal as the class you pick, because it definitely is. I chose the Sentinel, which is the tanky class. There is also, I believe, a mercenary class coming later on. It is locked behind pre-order if you've pre-ordered the game, which I'm not a fan of, but like I said, I believe it's going to be added to the game. Now, the game has open world systems that you may recognize from multiple different open world games. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Genshin, Breath of the Wild, you get the idea. Vast open worlds, plenty of side quests, main quests, areas to explore. But there is also a light and dark system, so you can choose to be good or an evil furball of doom. Do you want to be a good critter and unite everyone together, or be an absolute arse and just look out for number one? Now, certain abilities to unlock later on are locked behind the light and dark system, so you can only unlock them based on whether you're good or bad, like levitation or I guess the sparkly fingers ability, but you can balance light and dark to eventually unlock all of them anyway. I decided to go full dark, just saying, beating the crap out of all of the critters for the fun of it. Now, to follow on from some of the systems you'll see in other open world games, you can take over forts and clans in Biomutant. If you choose to take over a clan, you can get that clan weapon, that clan specific weapon, which can be quite powerful. You can also dodge time rolls, you can enter slow-mo combat, there is secrets and exploration where you can find really powerful weapons, like the two-handed flaming sword on the back of my mutant in this footage. Experiment 101 have definitely created something very special, but it wouldn't be fair if I didn't mention the game's narration, the one big sticking point for me while playing this game, or the story and how painfully slow it can be at times. Having to listen through characters talking gibberish and then waiting for the narrator to follow up and explain what was just said by that character slows down the flow of the game to the point where it's quite painful.
Promises he'll be there for the blast-off. Drinks all wet and ready. It's hard to understand the guzzle, but it's something about flip-flop the flip-flops and not getting sauced. Thinks you've made many angry. Maybe you shouldn't be out in the day.
And honestly, for anyone who is a parent with small kids of their own, or if you have small siblings in your house, then this type of gibberish and narration of the quest givers will give you Vietnam-style flashbacks to Iggle Piggle, the Night Garden, Pocoyo, and even bloody Peppa the Pig. Thankfully, there is an option in game settings to mute the gibberish or reduce the amount of it, and the narrator as well, if you prefer to do so, but I honestly think that might take from your experience until I guess you get fed up with it. This type of narration is on point with towns, places, quest givers, and even enemies having all of these cute kiddies TV show type of names, like the Sinky Dink, the Snoodsberg, the Shafty Loo, the Plumsy Dums, the Jumble, the Gizmo, the Porky Puff, which kind of sounds like some kind of bacon snack. You get the idea. You're effectively, if you look at it with this game, you're a badass critter with guns and swords wrecking a kid's TV show from the inside, which I'm all for. Feck Iggle Piggle and Peppa Pig. Now the game is set in an 8-kilometer squared open world map consisting of multiple different biomes, from rolling hills to lush forests to desert areas to biohazardous, radioactive, cold or even low oxygen areas that require special protective suits that you need to find in order to be able to just enter these zones. Without this protection, you're going to die pretty fast unless your resistance is upgraded, which you can upgrade through mutation points later on, or even you can find normal pieces of armor lying around which could give you resistances to certain hazards which will allow you to bypass that zone. Which brings us to the combat. Now at the start of the game this will feel a little bit slow, but once you start unlocking powers and getting upgraded weapons and then unlocking their special attacks, the combat becomes more free-flowing, not as good as an Assassin's Creed style combat system, and groups of enemies are always quite small in comparison to other open world games you'll play, but it can be a really enjoyable process once you string a lot of those attacks and the dodges together. Timing plays a big part, but enemies have little symbols that appear above their head as they attack to let you know when you can dodge. And of course that dodge is going to trigger off a slow-mo, which can then lead to, I guess, staggering an enemy if you hit them with a melee attack. So the combat is really enjoyable, and it's also going to depend on which abilities you choose to, I guess, use in combination with one another. Weapon creation and customization plays a massive part in this game. You can break down weapons you find for their parts, or you can find different rarities of weapon parts in pretty much every zone or area you go into. Loot chests are everywhere. They're all over the place, but resources are needed in order to build these, and the good thing is that you will find resource towers scattered all over the map. What weapon types or combinations you choose to build and put mods on is entirely up to you. You can go whatever way you want. Dual-wielding pistols that deal toxic damage while firing off a random rocket because of the perk are awesome. Toxic also makes enemies get sick, which stops them attacking you for a few seconds, allowing you to beat the crap out of them. While you combine melee swings and cartwheeling gun battles, Biomutant it's fun, right? It's a lot of fun, but it can get bogged down by the narration element too, the stories, the quests, and of course the side quests as well. But that is just my opinion. That was the one sticking point I had for the whole game. The rest of it was really, really enjoyable. If you enjoy open world games, then this is definitely worth a look. But as always, thanks for watching.